My name is Manny, and I've been with my department for 20 years. I got into it because I was a flight attendant at the time, and I wanted a job that entailed me to stay home most nights. And I looked in the paper and I saw this ad for a communication specialist and saw that it was answering 911 calls. I thought, all right, you know what, this has got to be really easy. All you have to do is pick up the phone. Boy, it couldn't have been any more wrong. The first day of training was till the very end of it was so intense. I was used to being able to do water landings or open the door of an A300. I had no idea what went into this job. I think that half of our class pretty much washed out, and I felt such a sense of accomplishment once I did graduate from our academy. I think one of my worst calls was a few years ago. I got a call from a kid saying that he was abducted. And you know, the worst things are going through my head. This kid was crying. Of course, I asked him what the suspect looked like, and he went into great detail on describing the suspects and describing that the van that they had left in. I mean, this kid just, you know, I thought, wow, this kid really has a great memory. While we were en route to see him, one of our units was just arriving. All of a sudden, this kid started screaming and asked him what was wrong. Well, our deputy that went to make contact with this kid had gotten hit by a car. And I've never cried on the phone before, but that was my very first time. I'm probably sure it's not going to be my last time. My emotions were high that day, and they quickly turned to anger when I found out that this kid had made up the entire story. So all of this happened for nothing. Who does that? In order for me to get myself to heal, I had to forgive this kid, which took a long time, but eventually I'm glad I did. My best call, I think, was taking a fraud report from an elderly lady who apparently was defrauded by her cable person. I felt so bad for her. I mean, she was obviously on a fixed income, and once I took the report, I contacted our detectives, and our detective was able to contact the cable company that suspect was from, and got him to return that money. And I think he got fired in the process. But once this woman had her check in hand, I called her back as a follow-up, asked how she was doing. She kind of had mobility issues, so I actually offered to give her a ride to the bank to make sure that that check was deposited, and that's what I did. That's not something I normally would do, but I wanted to make sure that there was no way that this woman was going to lose that money again. I didn't realize how much of an impact I made on her until years later. Her family contacted me down the road and told me she had passed, and invited me to her funeral, which I did go. And so that was nice to be able to make a difference. What keeps me in this job? I think the fact that I have this camaraderie with other folks in my industry, the feeling of helping people, not knowing what I'm going to be doing that day. So it's a good variety of reasons. But I've been at this job for 28 years now, and I still have a few years left, and I'm going to continue on. So I'm very happy with what I do. I'm very proud with what I do, because I am 911.